All right, gang, let's dive right into it. Welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday, Tips to Grow Your Online Community. It's great to be with everyone here today. I just want to mention, I hope everyone is staying safe out there. Try to stay home as much as possible. If you're affected by the coronavirus, I just wanted to say, our hearts go out to you, and we just want to make sure everyone's friends and family are staying as safe and as healthy as possible. I am Jason there on the left. Great to be with you guys here today. And we're lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist here at Brilliant Directories. David, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Of course, just want to echo what Jason said, and hopefully while most of you are staying home, hopefully this webinar here will serve as a little bit of entertainment, as also some good educational information for you guys.
Yeah, also important to note with our team here at Brilliant Directories, many of us already worked remotely on the Brilliant Directories team. So the good news is we haven't had any slowdowns or anyone have to take time off. Everything's been operating as usual for us here. So we're going to continue to service you guys the best that we can, with support questions and things like that come in. So we're just going to continue to be there for you guys as much as we possibly can. And I always like to mention, if this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you're not already a member of our Facebook group, highly recommend joining. It's a great way to stay in touch in between Webinar Wednesdays. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook, and there's many good discussions there, very productive conversations, a lot of BD users helping each other. I'm in there as well, and it's nice to see such productive conversations happening in there. So if you're not already a member, feel free to head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And also, for those of you joining us for the first time, I just want to mention, Webinar Wednesday is a great platform to talk about ways to improve your website, build and grow your community. So if you have questions on topics such as how to increase your traffic, converting visitors into members, this is a great platform to ask those types of questions, and we'll be taking as many questions as we can today in the webinar. So we hope to get to yours soon. All right, and we have a few BD Lab updates to share with you guys today, and even more, we have more updates that are actually going to be released very soon. I can actually demo a few of those for you, but let's start with the ones that are already released and available for you guys now. One of my favorites, and I think it's going to be very useful, especially if you're using your site to generate revenue, is we have 2 new finance reports that you can take advantage of, and they basically show you a daily summary of your income for the current month, and then there's another report, I'll show it to you. It shows a month-by-month income report, so you can compare how you're doing throughout the year, and it also goes back to the prior 2 years if you have income from 2018. So let me show you where you can find that. If you head on over to your dashboard and click on the finance area transaction history, you'll now see there used to be an income forecaster here or estimator here. Now there's a drop down for income reports, and you can see a daily income report, a year-to-date report, that would be month by month. And then what was always there is the recurring income estimator, which is a future forecast of estimated revenue based on the recurring subscriptions you have. So let's take a look at the daily income report. We have this site, has a little bit of sample data here. So this would be for the month of March that we're currently in, and we can see that it is showing us, how much revenue we had, if there were any gateway fees, and also refunds. So this is a great snapshot of how you're doing in the current month. And what's also nice is if you scroll down, you can go back to the previous month here. So you can go month by month and kind of see how you did each day. If you're looking for trends on what part of the month is more favorable for your income, maybe it's the beginning, middle, or end, this is a great way to see those trends visually. And then the year-to-date report, this one goes month by month. It's not day by day. So here we can see this site it was just a test site. It doesn't have too much revenue data, but it would go back all the way to 2018 and 2019. So far this year, we can see March, the sample data shows 415. February was 182, and then back in January, there's a small amount here for 3589. But if you have a couple years worth of data, it's a great way to see trends again throughout the year of what months are more favorable for you, where you might want to invest more in marketing or kind of pull back on your marketing based on some of these income trends that you're seeing here with these visual charts and graphs. And then the last one is the report that's always been there. The income estimator, which basically estimates the recurring revenue that you have and how much you can plan on making in the coming months here. So as an example, there's only one recurring subscription on this test site, but it shows in April we plan on generating about $29.98. So it's a great way to forecast and maybe plan projections for the future. All right, this one we've actually talked about in the Facebook group. It is officially released, so I did want to mention it in this webinar. In the previous webinar, we did mention it's coming soon. It is an enhancement to the Detect Visitor Location add-on that we have out there. And kind of let me show you what that does exactly. So if you have the Detect Visitor Location add-on, before this, if you had it enabled, it would prompt the visitor immediately to share their location, to consent to sharing their location, and then that would automatically fill in the location search field here. So they don't have to type it. The system is already knowing based on their IP address where they're located. It's pretty convenient. The problem with that is it was prompting every single visitor that came to your site to share their location, and maybe they weren't doing a location-based search. So now there's this icon in all the location search fields. If you click on it, well, I actually shared my location here. Let me remove this and hard refresh. Okay, so if you click on this here, you'll now be prompted. This is what people would see automatically every time, but now you click on it, you allow access to share the location, and then there we go. So it should fill in your location here. So it's a little better experience for the visitor because they're not bombarded with the alert right away. It's also better for your Google Maps API because it's not pinging the Google Maps API every single time a visitor comes to your site, only the visitors who need it or want it when they're doing location-based searches. So it's nice and convenient there, and once you do it, you can continuously use it around the site. All right, this one we've had for quite a while, but we've made some enhancements and refinements so it works for subcategories as well. And what this allows you to do is if you have a lot of categories on your site, top-level categories or sub-level categories, and perhaps you're using the search filters where you're drilling down categories. Let me see if this site has it here. It is not showing it here, but let me show you what this setting does. If you go to member categories, and this is only if you don't want your categories by default in alphabetical order. So for member categories, there's an option here, front end display, and now with this update, it will apply to both your top and your sub-level categories before it just applied to your top-level categories. So you can choose in those search filter dropdowns how you want your categories organized by name A to Z or Z to A. And this is where you really want to use this if it's based on the sort order, ascending or descending. So with all your categories, there is an input here for the sort order. And if you're utilizing this, perhaps you want to bubble some of your more popular or important categories to the top of that drop-down list. You would give your categories a sort order and then choose here if you would like your categories organized by their sort order. And then, of course, each category has an ID here. That would basically be when you've added it to the site. Every category is assigned an ID. So you can also choose to have your categories sorted by their ID instead. So this is available. And again, it really just applies to if you're using the search filter. Let me go to our demo site. I can show you an example of what that search module looks like here. So here's a good example on the sidebar. So this is a list of all the top categories in our demo site. You can see they're listed alphabetically here, but if we wanted to list them by their sort order, we could certainly do that with that setting there, and it would also apply to the respective sub-level categories here. Okay, this is now, this is actually a two-step process. We completed step one, which is storing the member form submissions. So the end game here is we want to provide you with the ability to segment and filter your members based on what forms they filled out on your site. So you know which members have completed their listing details, which ones have perhaps published a coupon, which ones haven't. So the first step to this is storing the member form submissions. So we're doing this in the activity tracker now. Probably doesn't have too much high value till we finish the phase 2 part of this, but let me show you what this looks like. So we can see here we're now storing when a user or a member submits a form. And now that we're doing this, so member listing details form, blog article fields, that's the blog form, and so on. So now that we're storing this, the next step, which would be coming soon, I suspect next month, is in the search members page. We're going to add a new filter here for what form a member has filled out or completed, and that's going to allow you to create a better segmented list based on member activity on the site or what they have or have not done on the site with respect to submitting or filling out forms around your site. So we've completed step one of that, and then phase 2 is really the important one where you can search for members based on who filled out which forms. With all that said, lots going on here. Let's go on to the coming soon items. So we did mention this last week. I do have a small preview to show you guys. We are going to come out with both an add-on and some default settings for billing reminder emails. Basically, let me, it's better I just show you what you're going to have. It's coming soon. On your transaction history page, you'll have billing email settings. And if you have the add-on, you'll have these email settings because those are the automation settings. However, everyone will have the ability to email the members individually the email notifications that correspond to the different statuses of their invoices. So if a member is past due, everyone will have the ability to send the email notification with the one click of a button. So with these email automation settings, these billing email settings, what you'll be able to do to start is you can decide if an email is sent to a separate email is sent to a member when a new payment is received. So that could be on the first payment, or if it's a recurring payment, you can then choose to email the member every time a new payment is received, yes or no. Upcoming payment reminders, this has been pretty popular request. If you want to email your members prior to when a recurring charge is going to bill. And what you can do actually is you can choose to send an upcoming payment reminder up to 14 days before the payment is actually due. And then also additional automated emails that you can set up, you can enable or disable, are past due payment reminders. So let's say the payment was due on the 1st and you want to send an email saying, hey, we weren't able to charge your card on file. You can have this email go out 1 day after the due date, and then have another reminder go 7 days after the due date. You can decide how aggressive you want to be, or you can choose not to send 3 past due reminders. But these will be automated, so you as the website owner could just rest assured that these emails are being sent to your members and the reminders are being sent. And of course, each one has a corresponding email template with the payment information, what's due. And of course, you can customize that further to make it match your messaging and your brand's voice. So this should be really big. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this, and we're just on the final steps of QAing this with the development team. Okay, I mentioned this also in the previous webinar, but it's just on the cusp of being released. Moving forward to help reduce spam with newsletter subscriber signups, they will be in a pop-up, and they will use a security reCAPTCHA check, that little Google check. So let me just show you those who missed last week's webinar what that's going to look like. So right here, here's an example in the sidebar, join our newsletter. And right now it just has the input field, but there's no reCAPTCHA. There's not even GDPR consent if you're using that. And also in the footer here, right now it's just an input field. There's no security check. With this pop-up, you'll be able to have the security check. You can add more fields to save as well if you wanted to, beyond the name and the email address. And also now it can nicely support GDPR consent checkboxes if you needed to add them. When it's just in the footer here, it's really hard to find the space from a design perspective to include all those things nicely. So it just made sense to make this a nice and elegant pop-up here.
Okay. We do actually have a question that was written in about the billing email reminders. It's a pretty good question. He was asking, will the past due number 2 and number 3 emails stop once a payment has been received after that first past due email is sent out?
Yes, that's an excellent question. So let's just look over here. So in your transaction page, you can see all the past due invoices, the past due transactions. So once, for example, this gets paid, the user for this invoice will no longer be past due, and the emails will not run anymore for that invoice for that user.
Perfect.
All right, good question there. Yeah, if you guys have more questions, keep asking them. I'm just going to drill through these coming soons here. Here's one. This is more of a quality of life for members, especially if they have a lot of categories, subcategories. You'll be able to see them right here, like little tag clouds, and then they can easily delete them if they wanted to. So this is nice, especially if you're using subcategories. It's sometimes hard for the member to see what they have checked, especially if they're tucked away in subcategories like this veterinarian one. But then they can easily see where they are, and they could X them out if they needed. So this is really nice, especially with the update we did here with the quick search filter. So you can kind of search for categories. Again, it really doesn't apply to sites with just a few categories, but if you have dozens and dozens of categories that the members have to select, this is just going to make things a little bit easier for your members, and they'll make sure that they are in the correct categories. All right, this one is also on the cusp of being released. The ability to choose the sort order for your streaming members that you have on your homepage. So a lot of people like to use the module on the homepage to stream your recent members. Right now, it just does a chronological order of who the recent members are joining, and it shows those members on the homepage. So instead, we're going to provide with some sort options here. Let me show you what that looks like. So if you go to homepage layout and you have the show members, the show recent members option here. So if you go to the section order options for streaming members, you'll have coming soon a sort option. So you can choose newest, which is the way it works right now. Oldest, that would be people who signed up first on your site, they'll display first, or you can do a random order. And the one that a lot of people have been requesting is the random order, so you can just show members. And what's really nice is you can actually choose which membership levels to include in that stream. So perhaps you only want your premium members to show on the homepage, and then you could show them in a random order. So every time the page refreshes, there really is no priority. Everyone's getting the same random visibility on your homepage for being a premium member. So that should be released shortly, and definitely we'll mention in the next webinar. I think by then it should be released. And then lastly, I've already mentioned this, phase 2 of storing the members' form submissions will be being able to search those members and export members who have filled out specific forms on your site. So these are just a few things that are coming soon, and some things that have been released. And a lot of it is thanks to your feedback in the Facebook group. It's really helping us prioritize and identify the things that are most important to you and the community. So if you ever have ideas, feel free to let us know, and if we can make it happen, we certainly will. All right, so generally we'd have a tip of the week today, but there was so much activity in the Facebook group the last week or two, we thought it'd be best to use this time to simply help and answer questions that you have on your site. Maybe you're stuck trying to do something, maybe you have a question about how something works, or you need help strategizing on a direction to take your site in. So what we wanted to do is utilize the time today to simply help you with your site. So if you have any questions about your site, this would be a great time to take some questions and see if we can assist you the best we can. All right. Yeah, we got quite a few hands up here. Let's start with you, Roy. How you doing, Roy?
Very good, thank you, and thank you for inviting me. I've got a question about the new feature about the ability to sort order feature that you're putting out. Can I just be clear? Does that effectively mean that whereas in the past it identifies recent members, now if you set it to random, it will actually cycle through all of the members in a particular category?
Precisely, in a particular that are part of a particular membership level. Correct. If you've decided to filter by membership level, so the one filter you can have here is only include members of a certain membership level. But yeah, it will cycle through all of them and display them randomly. However, also good to keep in mind, just for the sake of your homepage's load time, by default, it's limited to a maximum of 24 results at a time. Generally, we've seen when it's more than that because of the images and the query that runs to get the members. 24 is really a nice maximum to have on your site. So yes, it certainly will cycle through them randomly and display them on each page load.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed.
All right. Thank you for the question. We got our good friend Martin. I think your site was the Orthopedic Surgeons Today site, and you're asking about changing your domain name. There's a few things to consider when you're changing the domain name. The first one is the existing traffic that you have coming into your site from Google. One thing that I'd recommend doing before changing your domain name is setting up a Google Analytics account. Just let me load a sample one up here for us. Give me one moment. So what I'd recommend doing is setting up a Google Analytics account. And what you really want to do is under behavior, site content, all pages, I would track it for a few weeks. Again, before changing your domain name, it is a really sensitive thing. You really want to make sure that you're not going to lose, or you're going to mitigate and minimize any traffic loss that's already coming from Google search results. So, well, this site really doesn't have much traffic, but the idea here is you want to look at all your pages and you want to see the pages. It shows you here what the URL is and what the page views are. And I think over a month's period, it's good. Basically, what you want to do is you want to export this list, and they do have an export tool here somewhere. Well, I can't see it right now, but there is an export tool here, or you could just look at this list and copy what you're seeing here, put it in an Excel sheet, and once you do your domain switch, you want to make sure that all your old URLs are pointing to the corresponding and respective pages in your new URL. That way, you're setting up proper redirect from your old website's domain URLs to your new website's domain URLs. Now, if you're switching from your BD site domain name, that's actually good because all the page URLs will essentially stay the same. The only thing that's going to change is the root, which is for you, it's the Orthopedic Surgeons Today, and everything else will stay the same. So you can actually, I would work with a developer on this. It's nothing. It's nothing crazier, but I would work with a developer to set up what's called your HT access, and set up forwarding based on a URL. If the URLs match from your old domain, it'll send it to the new domain's corresponding URL. The second thing you want to do, so basically you want to make sure your top 100 pages are actually going to the new site's URLs. And a developer can very easily help you set up HT access so that forwarding happens successfully without skipping a beat. The second thing you want to do is with your Google Search Console, change domain, Google Search Console. You want to inform Google of here the change of address tool. So this is a change of address tool, and you're basically telling Google, hey, this is my old domain. I'm going to start using this new domain. And again, it's going to help mitigate and minimize any potential traffic loss from the domain change. So in my opinion, if you use the Google change of address tool, if you export your most highly trafficked pages using Google Analytics to identify what those pages are, and after the transfer, spend the next 24 hours making sure that you've reconciled all the links from the old domain to the new domain, your most top 100 links. You're going to help minimize and mitigate any traffic loss from Google search that you're already receiving. So those are just some tips for you there, and for anyone else who's thinking about changing their domain name. If your site just launched, you really don't need to worry about that stuff. But if your site's been online more than 4 to 6 months, you definitely want to take those two steps in mind of using Google Analytics and using the change of address tool. And let's go with another J name here, Jacqueline.
It looks like Jacqueline actually sent in a text question.
Okay.
She said, when will we be able to turn add-ons on and off on our own?
So that's a good question. Some add-ons already do have some settings. I'll just show you real quick. I have a follow-up question. Which add-on specifically are you looking to turn on and off? That might help us. Maybe we already have a setting for some of it. But as an example, in the search results design, you can enable or disable your Google Search Assist, the detect visitor location that we were talking about. You can enable or disable this. In the edit post settings, you can choose what type of pagination you want, if you want the regular pagination or the insta-load. So Jacqueline, if you want to follow up with maybe we do have a setting for something, we can definitely address that for you if you want to type it in. And while she's doing that, let's head on over to Scott here. How you doing, Scott?
Hey, good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for joining us today. What's your question for us?
If I could give you my site address, I wouldn't mind if you guys would look at it and just give me some feedback. I want to launch it pretty soon, but
Sure.
I was a little bit gun shy because I don't have a whole lot of content on it, but I do want to kind of start building it slowly by adding businesses into it, because I have a small local Facebook group that I want to launch it to, and then just start getting them to start filling it in as it grows.
Sure. What's the name of the site?
It's whatsupnorwin.com.
All right, let's take a look here. Okay, where is Norwin located?
We're southeast of Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right. So tell me in one or two sentences what the purpose of the site is here.
Well, it serves two purposes. The first one is basically to provide the latest news and events for that particular area. I do direct mail and I do advertising in that area. I run a Facebook page to that area, and I was getting about close to 500 visits a day on a WordPress site, and I switched it over just recently to brilliant directories, so the traffic can still be coming here, but then I want it to also be a good hub for people to find local businesses in their area that they can support. So it's for local businesses, but yet at the same time, I want residents to be able to get in there and look at things as well. But they're mainly going to be there probably because of the news links that I'm going to be posting on my Facebook page. I've got about 5,000 people following that.
Okay, great. I have some tips, just some overview. You can take it to take what you like from it. So it's good. So your site has basically three main focuses. It's news and articles and events, and then the business directory. With that said, and because your site is just starting out, to make your workload a lot easier, I would recommend removing classifieds, jobs, and properties, and anything else that will just create more work for you in the beginning stages. And what you can, and sounds like you're very proficient at, what you can do is start adding news and events and business listings to the site and focus your energy on those so that you can fill those areas with good quality and meaningful content. Your site becomes a valid and good resource. People can see it quickly. And again, you're cutting your workload down from having to fill out more sections of your site with just the key things that you want to start out with. Another thing I would recommend for the business directory, I always like to, especially if it's in a local area, find maybe something more prestigious to call the directory, like preferred business directory. You know, it could still be a directory, or preferred business network, something that just gives it a little bit more inherent value or perceived value, simply because of what you're calling it. You know, top Norwin business directory or pages, whatever you want to call it there, but add some prestige, a little bit more than just calling it a Norwin business directory. Again, that'll just add a bit more perceived and inherent value for people who are browsing it.
You mean just basically like in the title there where the logo is?
Well, I think your logo's great. So you have like these different sections here. Latest news. Find a business is also good. But when you go to the find a business page, I'm just thinking somewhere on the site that makes because your site has different sections, right? You're going to have the event section, the news section, maybe another resource page, and then you're going to have the business directory. However you're linking to the business directory, just find something that elevates the value of it a bit more than just find a business. And that just comes down to verbiage. My mind's not as sharp as it usually is today. I'd have like 5 or 6 examples for you, but something that just elevates it or just adds a bit more perceived value and inherent value for what it is. Like,
yeah, I think I understand. I think I remember seeing a video that you had said something about that before for like a local business. I mean, I have the welcome the preferred guide about the Norton area way up top. Whether that shows up on mobile, I think it does, but
there you go.
I think I understand what you mean.
You're already doing it. Yeah, I actually apologize. I didn't see this, but you're already doing it. And I just came up with guide also here before seeing this. So preferred business guide.
And I think it might be in the I think it might be in the footer too. I'm not sure if it is. It might be at the bottom on the left. Maybe not. I probably need to change join our preferred guide down at the bottom in that button. But gotcha. Yeah, maybe I need to add some more in there.
Gotcha. And then because you have such a good wealth of well, you're going to have events and news. Perhaps, and I'll just show you another example. Maybe you don't want to start with just the business search here, because people coming here, maybe they're not searching for a business. They just want to get information. So what you can do instead, I like this. People are using that hero section for more of like a message. You don't necessarily have to have a button, but you can use that hero section not for a search, but to welcome people who are coming to the site. Or what you can do is maybe you have an article about some hot local news. Use that article image as the background image, and then link to that article. So it becomes more of a publication style and not just about the searchable directory. And the only reason I like that is it adds a little bit more wealth and richness to the site, rather than just being another Yellow Pages site. So just think about using your hero section for more than just a search. You can.
If I can jump in, going along with that, if you still do want to put more emphasis on the business directory aspect of your website, you do already have it in the main menu, but you could also make that one menu item for the business directory a different color, just like how this one, Join the Circle, is a different color to make it stand out and put a little bit more emphasis on that specific link.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, if you go to the go back to my site, you scroll down, the next thing I have is news. That's what I kind of want people to be able to see next. So that might give me some ideas about how to change that a little bit.
I think what you're doing is,
yeah, I do want it to more focus on news, but I do realize that people are probably just going to get to, like, if most of my traffic is coming from the Facebook page, they're probably going to be going to individual news articles. So maybe what I need to do is look at that first and see what they're actually going to be seeing.
right.
So I need to change that red bar.
Because the businesses, if you're trying to monetize from the businesses, they're going to want to see that your site is, when you go to Yelp, or another site, everything is consumer driven, and then the businesses just know that you're driving consumer traffic. So that's only why I say if you put a stronger emphasis on the news and event content, and then the business is like secondary, but it's still a prestigious part of your site, because you're calling it a preferred business guide or something like that. With those two together, it's going to be a much easier selling proposition when you're going to businesses and asking them to participate on your site.
Okay.
But overall, I think it's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we've got Toby's got his hand up. How you doing, Toby?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. On that join the circle where the menu bar is highlighted in a different color, how do I create that?
Great question. I'd love to show you. Can we use your site as an example?
Yeah, let me put it in the chat box for you.
Yeah, launch 19/0/91.
Yeah, I'm really just early doors, just getting the feel of it. So.
Okay, great. All right, so let's check out what you've got so far. Okay, so love how you're using your homepage you've created this. Again, I love seeing when the homepage is, showing something else here. So main menu, how do you change the color of one of the bars? So let me show you first. Let's go to your design settings. Everyone has this. In your design settings, you have what's called the default button colors, and there's 6 of them. There's your primary, info, success, warning, danger, and default. Usually when you set your default colors, those are basically your theme colors, and your header design and menu design will probably utilize some of the similar colors you're using for your default button colors. So with that said, let's keep in mind we have primary, warning, danger, default, success. Let's say you wanted to use the same success color you're using in one of your main menu links, Toby. So let's head on over to your menu manager. And we'll go to your main menu. So what is one link you'd want to potentially highlight? Find a business, shop local?
Well, probably find a business.
Okay, great. So what we want to do is, here's the menu item, find a business. So what you want to do is toggle open the settings tab.
Mm-hmm.
And what you can do, so we're going to use the success one. So we're just going to do BG-success. That means background success. So this element, use the success color as the background color. So what I like to do is just do it for both the menu item and the LI class. They're 2 elements built into each other. So if we do that and we cross our fingers, if we refresh the page, you should now have that as green there. And the same thing would work if you use BG-danger or BG-warning. It would use the respective color that you have set in your design settings for that button color.
Perfect. Thank you very much indeed.
All right, good question there. Thank you. All right, let's see who's got their hand up here. Let's see April's hand here. She's been busy in the Facebook group. How you doing, April?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining the webinar.
Okay, so my question is, and I just joined BD, I want to say 5 days ago, so really new. I've been seeing the website. So when you log in as a member, I see that there's a member ID number which the system generates. Is there any way that, one, that can be made public, and then also do the posts? I would love to have the posts have their own post ID number, if that's possible.
Sure. What's your site? What's your site name? I could take a look and we could see if we could add that for you now.
Okay. So I just started, obviously, so it's like a hot mess.
It's okay.
But the launch number is 19229.
let's do the member one first. I think that'll be a bit straightforward, and then let's see if we can do the one for your posts. Okay. So let's take a look at a member's profile real quick. Let's do a quick search. And okay, so here's a member's profile. So here's what we can do actually. It should be pretty straightforward. Let's go to your form manager and let's customize the listing contact details for your site. And it requires you to do a change. So I'll just do a quick change there and then we can get it. What I'm going to do is add the member's ID to this, and it'll only display when you're looking at the public profile page. So now that we have that, I'll save the changes again. So we're going to add a new field, and what we want to do is this is going to be a single line input. And what do you want to call it on the public page? Member profile ID?
Yeah, let's call it that.
Okay. Member profile, and I believe it's user ID is the existing variable we have for this. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose to only show this in display view, not on input view. So display view means when this field has a value, do we want to show it on the public side of the site? So we're going to do this to yes. On the flip side, we don't want to show input view. So when the member is filling out the form, we don't want to show them the member ID here. We could set it as read only so they know their member ID, but it's already in their sidebar, so it would be a bit redundant to include it here. So I think we just want to display it. And then we can choose where we want to play this.
Got it. And also, before you move forward, just a quick, is there a page on the website that lists all the available system variables so I could look these up myself one by one as well?
I think we have a cheat sheet. Let me add it here, and then let me do a quick Google search for our cheat sheet. I think we have a cheat sheet for member variables as well as post variables too. So,
got it.
So let's do this. Let's just save this real quick. Let's see if we can get it to display on this member's profile page.
Okay, got it.
This is in the contact form, so it should show right above the company name here. Let me move it underneath this title.
Got it.
So this is the member profile ID 1, so that's there. Now let's do the posts. Okay, so let's look at Charlie here. And I think we can do the same logic here. So you're using...
I added a fake dog ID. Like I just, made up my own. I made it I added it to the form just so I could visually see what it would look like, but kind of that's what I would want to do.
You got it. Like, no, we can use the same logic here. Now, which form is that? Is that the available dogs or the dogs form?
It's the dogs one.
Okay, we can use the same concept that we just did. So here you have the dog ID. So it is a photo album. So what we can actually do is let's go to. I just want to go to your MySQL here. I don't remember off the top of my head what that is, but each photo, it's a photo album basically. That each photo album does have an ID, so we just have to get that variable, and we should be good. So this is called Charlie. So that is going to be user portfolio groups. That's the entire group. So here's Charlie, and here it's called the group ID. So all we have to do is put in a group ID here. Very close what you did. And we're going to do the same thing. I think you did it right. You did. So we don't want this on the input view, so I'm going to remove that, and we'll remove the default value. And you really don't want the users to see this because it's automatically assigned by the system, but on the front end we can show the dog ID number. So we can do it. So let's see if this works. Charlie's number is 6, the group ID, so let's save this. Let's see if it corresponds here. So there you go.
Okay.
Thank you for your questions. Okay, good energetic questions there from April. See, Rich has his hand up. How you doing, Rich?
Great, man. How's it going?
Good. Where are you calling in from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, great. And what's your question for us?
And we chatted on the Facebook group earlier. We just launched the Podcasters Directory.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. What we're thinking is, we're still in kind of pre-launch, so it's live, but we haven't done an official promotion and invited members to join yet. We're still kind of beta testing some of the features, but one of the main things I'm thinking about doing is, instead of just offering a pricing table of 3 for them to join as a a guest, a podcaster, and a sponsor, splitting that like that lawyer site did, where they have one tab for lawyers and one for consultants or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So in our case, we want to look at doing, if you go to our get listed, this is our current pricing table, because like you mentioned in the chat, we want to fill up the bucket mainly for podcasters to start off with, and the rest will kind of follow. And so the idea is be a guest or book a guest on a podcast. So if you're a CPA in Ohio and you want to be on a podcast, you're not a podcaster, you just want to be a guest on a podcast to talk about, promote your business. That's a great opportunity. And podcasters are always, sometimes struggling, but always, looking to for new guests.
So funny, the similarities between your site and this lawyer site, because this iLaw Connect site is a directory of either attorney listings or expert witnesses. And expert witnesses are like the guests because they're experts on a topic, and lawyers sometimes in a trial or in a deposition or whatever it might be, they need to find an expert witness on a topic. Most famously, the movie My Cousin Vinny, when she comes in and talks about the cars. But same for you. Yeah, you're creating a marketplace here. You can certainly do that. You can do the path. You can create a page that just kind of funnels people down and see how that works. I think what's going to be more valuable is doing a little bit of trial and error. So before you cast a big marketing net, you're probably going to need to try a couple different landing pages to see which ones convert the best. If you're going after the podcasters first, is that right? What you're going to do is kind of try to get podcasters to join your site. So if I was a podcaster, I'd want to know, okay, well, who are the guests? And I probably don't want to show them this. You probably want to show them the purpose of your site is a podcaster directory. Now, again, another similarity here, there's a site called Capterra, and it's a directory of software. It's just find better software, right? So their whole focus is we have software in different categories, right? Software categories. So, this could be like podcasts, like find a podcast. What genre of podcast are you looking for? Mystery, educational, history, this. So if you're going to create that marketplace with the guests and the sponsors, I think first what you need to have is a good, like this software directory, you need to have a good podcast directory. And in order to start, you might want to follow a model like this. They really are just about finding better software. If I came to this and I said, find better podcasts to listen to, right? And that's what the homepage said. And then it's find podcasts by category. Tell us what you're interested in. Join our newsletter to get podcasts our recommended podcasts of the month. If I was a podcaster, I'd want to be in that in that sphere. If I knew that you're going to help me promote my podcast and categorize it and help me find a larger audience, I'd be more inclined to join your site.
Yeah, I hear what you say, but we've kind of shopped this at some trade shows, some podcasting, major events and so forth, having an exhibitor booth, and we've gotten great response from podcasters. And the premise is, I hear what you're saying, but the spin on it is there's a ton of websites and platforms where people can promote their podcast and list their podcast, on Spreaker, on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on iHeartRadio. There's a million directories of you as a podcaster promoting your podcast. Spotify, and so forth, right? So our thought is the different spin on it is this is the if you click on how it works, I think it breaks it down a little bit. So the premise is to define it like, do you want to be a guest on a podcast, or you want to book a guest? You want to book Jason on your podcast to talk about Brilliant Directory? You know what I mean? So that's the niche that we think is going to be huge, because again, there's tons of places where you can grab your phone and you can just search. Any app on your phone will tell you where a podcast are played and subjects you can listen to. But the challenge for podcasters is finding those guests.
No, and I get what you're saying, and again, I told you it's probably so relevant what you're creating here. Just one tip is, because you're creating a marketplace, it's always good. It's always good to put your energy into acquiring one side of the marketplace, and once you have that
Right.
once you have that marketplace, pivot your offering and then go after the second half of the marketplace. It doesn't matter which half of the marketplace you go after first. You just have to pick a side. So then you have the ammunition and the bait that's going to attract the second side of the marketplace. So your offering to attract that first side of the marketplace might be different than the main offering that you're going to have ultimately. Or I don't know. Again, you might just want it. Maybe it is as it is. It's podcasters will join even without the guests really on the other side as of now. So again, it sounds like you're in the industry. You know exactly what podcasters are looking for. So I'm confident you'll put together the right proposition to get them to want to register and join. All right, guys. I think we're just a little bit over time. There's good extended webinar for everyone. Good lab updates that we had. If we didn't get to your question, please feel free to ask them in the Facebook group. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. Hope everyone is staying safe out there. Try to stay at home as much as possible. If you're interacting with people, practice social distancing. On behalf of myself, Jason, David, and the entire Brilliant Directories family, what a wonderful webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll catch you in the next webinar. It's going to be in 2 weeks. And yeah, we look forward to catching you then. Have a great day and a brilliant week. Take care, guys.